We're already in crisis mode in our office.
An attorney shortage across the state.
We're stretched. It's not sustainable.
A problem impacting your wallet and well-being.
Frankly, this is a public safety issue.
WRTV Investigates spent 5 months digging into why this is happening.
We keep shooting ourselves in the foot.
And what's being done to address it.
What are state lawmakers doing about this problem?
I'm Kara Kenney with WRTV Investigates. We've spent the past 5 months traveling the state, and what we found is concerning: a growing attorney shortage. It's a problem that impacts every person in our state. Chances are we will all need a lawyer for things like wills, estates, divorces, if you've been injured or if you're accused of a crime. But finding an attorney is getting harder, and here's why. The national average is 4 lawyers for every 1,000 residents. In Indiana, it's much lower, averaging 2.3 lawyers per 1,000 residents and dropping, putting Indiana in the bottom 10 states for attorneys. In this series of stories, we'll tell you how the attorney shortage is impacting your wallet and your safety. Welcome to Bicknell, Indiana, a city of 3,000 people in Knox County. Thomas Estabrook is the mayor. What do you like about living here?
So, it's one of the greatest, I say it's the greatest place in the world to live because it's a small town. Of course, I grew up here.
Knox County has 39 active attorneys, including judges, but none of them are in Bicknell. This city has no attorneys.
Right, there is not an attorney practicing in Bicknell anymore. Recently, the one practicing attorney here retired.
People who live in Bicknell have to drive 25 minutes to Vincennes for legal help, or
there's a lot of folks who may have legal issues that go unresolved, folks who may try to go at it on their own.
Rural areas are feeling the greatest impact of the state's growing attorney shortage, one the mayor hopes to address. Twice a week, he drives 2 hours to Indianapolis so he can go to law school and become Bicknell's only attorney.
There are a lot of folks who have legal needs that are probably being unmet just because there aren't enough attorneys.
Estabrook attends IU McKinney School of Law 2 nights a week.
And O has a reversion, exactly right.
He hopes to graduate in 2026. Meanwhile, the number of attorneys coming out of Indiana law schools has been on the decline. Before 2017, Indiana had 5 law schools: McKinney, Maurer, Notre Dame, Valparaiso, and Indiana Tech. Indiana Tech closed in 2017. Valpo closed in 2020. Of the 3 law schools left, the state says IU McKinney is the only law school producing Indiana lawyers at a high rate. Estabrook plans to be one of them.
Definitely interested in property, wills and estates and trusts.
But he's not interested in using his law degree to work in Indiana's criminal justice system, which is the hardest hit by the state's attorney shortage.
Everything is kind of in triage mode all of the time.
Brent Eaton is the prosecutor in Hancock County, a fast-growing county with nearly 80,000 people. These 7 are the only prosecutors in the county. They're budgeted for 8, but the Indiana Prosecuting Attorneys Council says they should have 12 attorneys to be adequately staffed.
It affects public safety directly.
Are there crimes in your community that are not being prosecuted because you just don't have enough staff?
Yes, that we don't have enough manpower to really cooperatively work with law enforcement to see these investigations through from the beginning, so we can necessarily get all the evidence we may need to be able to prosecute every single thing we would like to.
Eaton says he'd love to devote an attorney to a drug task force, but he doesn't have the manpower. The shortage is burning out the staff he does have, like Chief Deputy Prosecutor Amy Herring, who estimates she's worked 500 hours of unpaid overtime so far this year.
We can't keep up at this pace. We're already in crisis mode in our office. We don't have the staff to meet the needs right now. We're just treading water. And so that's only going to get worse.
On the day we tagged along with her, Herring was juggling hearings, trainings, and meetings.
So it's not just the in-court time and the caseload that you see by the numbers, it's all the preparation time and the outside extraneous things.
She spent more than 6 hours preparing for a child molester's sentencing, including this argument for a stiff sentence.
What we can do is make sure that for the next 20 years, The defendant has no access to these children or any others in our community or any community.
The prosecutor shortage means cases can take longer to resolve, leaving victims in limbo.
It affects our ability to get justice.
Jenny Wendt is a rape survivor from Hancock County. She inspired Jenny's Law, which in 2015 expanded the statute of limitations for rape. She's concerned about the impact of the attorney shortage on victims.
People are going to lose faith and they aren't going to feel safe. They're going to quit coming forward. They'll think that nobody has time for them. And that just is going to lead to a very dangerous situation for our community.
Several groups have been sounding the alarm to lawmakers.
Indiana has a lawyer shortage and it's growing,
including the Indiana Supreme Court and the Indiana Prosecuting Attorneys Council, or IPAC.
It is not only a public safety issue, but a potential grinding to the halt of the entire criminal justice system.
The average salary for a deputy prosecutor in Indiana is just under $70,000. That's average, not starting. Meanwhile, the typical law school graduate carries $130,000 in education debt. Dozens of counties have job openings posted for prosecutors, openings they struggle to fill.
We cannot stop the bleed if we can't increase our salaries.
Only 11% of Indiana counties have adequate staffing to meet its workload. IPAC says our state needs 440 prosecutors to be adequately staffed, which would cost an estimated $53 million in state funding to rectify. During the most recent legislative session, bills that would have addressed the attorney shortage failed to advance. Lawmakers took no action, leaving counties to compete with each other for attorneys who want to work in the criminal justice system.
It's like an arms race. No, it really is.
Eaton wrote this letter to the county council begging to increase pay for deputy prosecutors and 3 more positions.
Ultimately, the council is going to have to make a decision. Either they want to continue to have public safety that's among the best in the country, or they continue to do things the way they're doing.
Back in Bicknell, Mayor Estabrook wants people to know you can make a great living in a small town.
The idea that you have to go to a big city to get a lot of work as an attorney is just not true. I think there's just a lot of unrealized demand for those services in rural areas.
You just saw how prosecutors and victims are impacted. We now move to the other side of the courtroom, the accused. If you can't afford a lawyer, the court appoints a public defender. But we found the state has a major shortage of attorneys willing to do that kind of work, creating delays in the criminal justice system.
We're set for a second round of depositions in January. I would have loved to set you sooner.
For attorney Lucy Frick, the wheels of justice are moving at a snail's pace.
I am slow. I'm constantly telling clients, I will work for you, but it's going to be hard to reach me. Sometimes we're just stretched so thin that all I have time for that day is like a 15-minute video visit.
Lucy works for the Marion County Public Defender's Office. They represent people accused of crimes who can't afford an attorney, like Corey Hoskins. He's been in jail for 5 months on a pending robbery charge.
It's hard. It's hard on my family.
Corey requested a trial within 70 days.
Why do you want a fast and speedy?
I had a brand new daughter born August 3rd. I just want to get home to her, and I just want the courts to see my case and so once they see my case, I feel like I'm going home.
But Lucy, his public defender, could not honor his request.
I knew it would not be ethical for me to go to trial on his case that quickly. He's facing quite a bit of time.
She's juggling 55 cases.
What is that like?
It's awful. You are bending over backwards to do work that you care about, and you just can't be that effective when you have too many clients.
The Marion County Public Defender's Office is short-staffed, in part because of a growing statewide attorney shortage. Marion County has 150 public defenders, but the office should have 185 to be fully staffed, according to Lucy's boss, Chief Public Defender Bob Hill.
You're short 30 attorneys.
At least.
What's the impact of that?
We have cases backing up. Takes longer to get rid of cases. Caseloads pile up. I talked to a lawyer this week who is indicating that they have 70 active major felony cases, which is way too many.
The irony is Marion County is one of only 3 counties in the state that has enough lawyers to serve its population. The problem is most of them don't want to work in public defense.
We have a job posting for new hire attorneys up all the time.
Starting pay in the Marion County Public Defender's Office is $63,000. Statewide, the median pay for public defenders is $77,000. Meanwhile, the average Indiana lawyer makes a lot more, $142,000. JP Roman Lagunas left the Marion County Public Defender's Office in 2013. He now works for a big law firm, Keffer Hirschauer, doing private criminal defense.
Why did you leave to go into private practice?
Opportunity and money. I mean, that was it. Realistically, I mean, I was married, I think a kid on the way.
Are you more comfortable?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm significantly more comfortable than I was. Several times over more comfortable, absolutely. I also have 4 children, so I certainly would be in dire straits if I was still doing full-time, public service.
Indiana attorneys are also juggling massive debt from law school, like Megan Schuler.
Right now, I think I pay like $400 a month, so it's manageable.
Gosh.
Oh, that's manageable.
$400 a month in loans.
Mm-hmm.
And you graduated 23 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Megan is one of only 2 public defenders in Owen County. She's currently working on contract, meaning she has to pay for her own insurance, benefits, and retirement. Plus, the job is stressful.
And I always feel like bad because it's just me on my cases. So I've got clients in jail who are calling me all the time, leaving me messages.
Some counties are so short-staffed, they're using attorneys from other counties to fill the gaps. Like Knox County, they have attorneys from Fishers and Fort Wayne helping out.
The people who are out of town, it's tough. We have to pay them an hourly rate. It's $100 an hour. So it's a huge expense. With all the lawyers we have right now doing all these cases, it's a huge expense.
Vanderburgh County is short 4 public defenders, so they had to farm out 200 cases to attorneys across the state. Stacy Uliana took 5 of those cases. She's a private attorney in Bargersville, 2.5 hours away from Vanderburgh County.
Why do you do it?
Everybody deserves fairness and everybody deserves a good attorney, whether they can afford it or not.
Stacy talks to her clients over the computer.
Have you met any of these clients?
Not face to face, so it's not ideal.
And have you had anybody ask, why are you in Bargersville talking to me? Or
No, I think they all know the shortage and they're just happy to have an attorney now and to get their case moving.
Dozens of defendants, innocent until proven guilty, spent weeks in jail with no one to represent them.
Your life stops, while you're waiting for an attorney.
The attorney shortage is contributing to jail overcrowding. Cases take longer to resolve, which means the accused and witnesses are in limbo. It can even lead to mistakes, people wrongfully charged and convicted.
Witnesses not being interviewed, evidence not being captured and preserved.
Bernice Corley has been raising concerns for years. She's the executive director of the Indiana Public Defender Council.
It's just a train running without a conductor, careening out of control.
WRTV Investigates crunched the numbers and found since COVID an increase in pro se litigants, people foregoing lawyers in both criminal and civil matters.
Court show Mr. White appears in person and pro se.
In Hancock County, one by one, people appear before a magistrate who handles their divorces, paternity disputes, and guardianship cases. It all runs smoothly, but we spoke with judges who say when people opt to represent themselves, it can be problematic, especially in criminal cases.
And those people who don't know how the legal system works tend to make it a little slower, and the judges have to take more time with them.
Have you seen any increase in people wanting to represent themselves?
Yes, I try to say to people this is not a good idea.
Attorneys are urging county councils and state lawmakers to provide more funding to fix the lawyer shortage. As Corey Hoskins sits in jail awaiting trial, he recognizes how much his life depends on his lawyer.
A public defender is like an avenger. A public defender is an angel.
What do you want to say about the attorney shortage?
They had this money to build this jail. I think they should have built some more attorneys too. Like put that money somewhere else, because you put somewhere to hold us, put somewhere to at least give us a fair fight, a fair shake,
Fixing the state's attorney shortage would cost big bucks. Just to hire more than 400 prosecutors across the state would cost an estimated $53 million. That's not happening anytime soon, so lawmakers and law schools are getting creative.
Wide open spaces, farms, and friendly neighbors. Rural Indiana is special. It's also the hardest hit by the state's attorney shortage. Mario Reyes worked for the court system in White County, a rural county home to Indiana Beach.
There is quite a shortage of lawyers in the area. Most of the attorneys in the area are fairly older in White County. I think I saw a lot of the Hispanic population at the mercy of the criminal justice system because there was any attorneys that really spoke Spanish.
His work was part of the Rural Justice Initiative. It's a program IU McKinney School of Law launched back in 2019, which places students with judges, prosecutors, and public defenders.
We have sort of a mismatch of where people want to work and where there are jobs.
The goal of the initiative is to get law students interested in working in rural counties. So far, about 30 students have participated, and of those that have graduated, several have accepted offers or are currently working in rural counties.
What's the biggest impact that it's having so far?
Well, I think it's raising awareness as part of it, but also hopefully in a few years we look back and we see that some of these students, and I know that some of the students who participated this year, will end up working in that county or another county nearby.
IU McKinney School of Law also made a big change this year. It now offers a hybrid program, which means students can get their degree partially online and come to class only 2 nights a week instead of 5.
This is going to open the door to some students who before would have thought it difficult or impossible to be able to get a law degree.
Student Thomas Estabrook is taking advantage of the hybrid program, traveling 8 hours a week from Knox County. He's the mayor of Bicknell, Indiana, a city with no attorneys. That shortage inspired Estabrook to get his law degree.
It's very difficult. If law school was easy, everybody would do it. And in a lot of rural communities, there may not necessarily be the opportunities that there are in bigger cities.
WRTV Investigates took concerns about the state's attorney shortage to State Senator Aaron Freeman. He's a former Marion County deputy prosecutor.
What are state lawmakers doing about this problem?
Yeah, well, the short answer is I've tried to do what I can do.
He authored Senate Bill 280 that would have set up minimum salary requirements for prosecutors.
Your bill didn't make it out of committee.
It's always a challenge at the legislature.
Freeman also sponsored House Bill 1605, which would have provided retirement benefits to public defenders. It also failed to move forward.
Can you refile this bill?
We can. I mean, the short answer is yes. It's something we need to talk about.
However, the 2024 legislative session is a non-budget year, which makes it difficult for lawmakers to use state dollars to address the attorney shortage.
I don't think the state's going to have the magic bullet answer here, but I think we can do some things that would help.
Counties now have access to hundreds of thousands of dollars. Starting this year, they can use a small portion of the new judicial local income tax to pay for staff expenses, including courts, prosecutors, public defenders, probation, and community corrections. Other solutions in the works include a state loan forgiveness program for lawyers, using technology, allowing attorneys and their clients to appear via computer rather than in person, which will save valuable time, improving affordability of law school, and providing stipends or incentives to attorneys working in rural counties.
I'm most interested in criminal law.
Mario Reyes says he will consider working in a rural county when he graduates in 2026.
I think I can help start a change. I can help, shine a light on how the benefits of a rural county are to some of the younger people.
Some say another solution is to focus the resources we do have on prosecuting violent crime rather than nonviolent crime like minor drug offenses. Public defenders we spoke with say many of their clients are dealing with mental illness that should be resolved outside of the courtroom. For WRTV Investigates, I'm Kara Kenney.